Hey everyone, it's Kathy Zilski. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm excited to be part of the 5th anniversary of Pretty Pink Posh. And I'm playing with a charming little set today to create a very pink and very monochromatic little Valentine's card. And I'm excited to share this project with you. So let's take a look at the products, shall we? All right. Starting out with these floral hearts set from Pretty Pink Posh. It's a little set. See how little that is? It's got an inner heart and an outer heart and some cute little sentiments. And I'm going to use the smaller heart. Of course, you could stamp these and color them and do all kinds of things with them, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And I've already got one of the sentiments pulled out that I'm going to use on my card today. Plus, I have one of the coordinating dies, and there are dies to cut out both of the hearts, but I have just set the single one out there. I'm also going to be using this cute little Valentine's mix, also new from Pretty Pink Posh, to decorate my card. And for inks today, I'm going to be using Spun Sugar, a worn lipstick, and a little bit of picked raspberry from Tim Holtz. Got my little blending sponges, some embossing powder in Alabaster from Brutus Monroe, along with some Versamark ink. For cardstock, I've got some Dusty Rose from Gina K Designs, and I'll be using Neenah Solar White Classic Crest in the 110-pound weight. Of course, I will be using my original size MISTI tool today. This is going to be really critical to do what I want to do, which is basically create a pattern on a panel of cardstock. So I'm starting out with this heart, and this is going to be what I create an entire pattern. And that's why the MISTI is amazing for many reasons, but you can actually do math with your MISTI. And for someone like me who has literally almost zero math skills, this is revelatory for me. So I'm going to start out here and place the heart down in position 1. Pretty basic. Pick it up at the door. Now, I'm going to be using my embossing magic pad a lot today because I'm going to be handling this cardstock a lot as I lay down all of the hearts to create my own background. So I'm definitely going to be laying down a lot of this powder and then coming in multiple times with it because my fingers are going to be all over this. So I've got my clear sticky ink, my Versamark. I'm going to ink this up nicely and then go ahead and give it the first press down. Of course, your sleeve always makes for a beautiful transfer of ink. I should trademark that. No, not really. I shouldn't. I digress. But I'm placing the first stamped image down, and I am going to move the cardstock up 1.5 inches from the bottom. Put the magnet back down, go ahead, re-ink and stamp, and then I'm going to get perfect placement of that heart, move it up again 1.5 inches, and again repeat. The reason I want to do at least a few at a time is I don't want to have to heat emboss in between each stamping, if that makes sense. But here's the other cool thing. I'm going up one final 1.5 inches, and my cardstock is hanging outside of the MISTI, which is totally fine. You can do this and your paper is not going to bend. That's the beautiful thing. Even though there's that little ledge on the MISTI, your impression's going to be great. I've got my 4 hearts stamped off the edge. And now I'll take my white embossing powder, and this is Alabaster from Brutus Monroe. And when I sprinkle this on, you will see I have created a stack of 4 hearts, well, half of the hearts. But this is the start of my pattern, just like that. Now I'll get my heat tool nice and hot before I start embossing, and then just quickly put that heat to the paper and the embossing powder, and it will melt and turn shiny and white. And the 110-pound paper really does hold up to a lot of embossing, which is why I chose that weight for this card panel. Okay, now I'm going to repeat. And to repeat, I place the heart down in position 1 in row 2, if you will. Get that down, put it on the MISTI door. Again, come in with the embossing magic pad because I've already been handling the cardstock and my fingers can leave oil and I don't want the powder to stick anywhere other than where this ink is going. And then once I get that stamped, again, we're going to go up. I'm going up 1.5 inches, putting the magnet down, re-inking, stamping, the old sleeve press down, and repeat. Move up 1.5 inches, ink, stamp, beautiful. See that? And then I'll go back to my starting position and then come down 1.5 inches. So in this way, I'm creating just my second row of hearts. I'm going to ink and stamp using that ruler on the MISTI to make sure that I'm going at 1.5 inch increments. And then I'll come in with my powder, though it looks very blown out right there, as if there's nothing there. Trust me, when I tap it, you'll see I have another row of hearts. And I'll go ahead and heat set those as well. So that's the process. You create your own pattern by positioning your heart and then moving it up or down 1.5 inches using that MISTI tool until you've got an entire background. All right, now that's done, so I'm going to come in here with my inks. And I got to speed this up because I think this video is getting longer already than it should. But I wanted to come in and lay down this really light, pretty spun sugar in the center and go at a diagonal. And then I'm going to bring in the worn lipstick, which is, it's kind of a warm pink, and I really love the warmth that this color has. So I'm coming in from edge to edge, bringing that in, and again, I'm going to go back with the lighter spun sugar over the center to kind of create a nice blend. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit because you can start to see the pattern emerge. Now I'm going to use a piece of this tape just so I can put my fingers down and my fingers won't leave fingerprints. And again, coming in from the edge. I like the Tim Holtz glass media mat for this because it really is easy to just glide in from the edge, bring that distress ink in, and of course it does clean up really, really easily. But I'm just going to keep blending until I think it looks nice. And again, using that spun sugar to kind of soften out the edges of the worn lipstick. And then I'm just going to bring in the tiniest amount of the picked raspberry on the very edges. Then when you've got it all down, you just take your paper towel, go over the panel to wipe off all of the excess ink, and the white gets instantly brighter. Now I'll set that aside and let it dry. Next, I'm going to take a piece of the Dusty Rose. This is from Gina K Designs. I'm just going to cut a handful of 1/4 inch strips. The reason I'm cutting a handful is I feel like I make mistakes so often when I'm trying to stamp little sentiment panels. And besides, I needed a bit of this pink anyway because I want to stamp down another one of the hearts from the pattern. So I've got my Embossing Magic, again, going to prep that area, use my Versamark, get it all inky, and press it down up in the corner right there so that I can stamp more if I mess up or if I need anything extra. I'm going to pour my powder over here, tap off the excess, and now bring my heat tool right to the paper until it melts the powder, just like that. Now I'm going to take the die, and I've got a piece of light gray, lighter weight cardstock, and I'm going to make a template. Just going to run that through my die cut machine so that I can lay it over the top to frame exactly how I want this to cut. Because I'm not great at lining up dies, but this little tip, which I actually learned from my friend Gina K from Gina K Designs, you create a template and then your die locks in, like you can feel it, it's not going anywhere, and then you tape that down to your perfectly framed stamped image. Pop that down onto your plate, put the other plate on top, run it through, and it just saves time. I hate having to restamp something because I cut it horribly. What this template does is it allows me to have a perfectly cut item. Look at that. Love the templates. All right, now I'm going to trim that panel now that all the ink is set up. Trimming it to 3 7/8 wide by 5 1/8 tall, because here's what I'm going to do. I want that heart to kind of have its own space to live, and I want to have a little sentiment banner underneath it. So I'm going to stamp this tiny little Be Mine, and I'm going to free range this. Normally I pull out my MISTI, but I am trying to get a little more confident, and what do you know? That looks pretty good, so I'm going to keep it. I'll heat set that off camera, position it where I think it looks good on the card. I'm just going to do a little pencil mark there. and I trimmed off the edge, and I'm just going to use a little dot adhesive and my little clear T-square to get it lined up on the card. And then I'll just cut off that little excess piece with my paper trimmer. All right, got a little fun foam here, and I'll just adhere that very quickly to the panel using some of this scrapbook adhesive sticky tape runner. I had it a little long, so I had to trim off just a tiny bit. And the next step is to get my card base prepped. So this is the 110 pound. I'm going to score it at 5.5. It'll be a top folding card, 5.5 by 4.25. Going to seal it closed just while I'm working on it with a little of the purple tape. And then I'm going to use some Gina K liquid glue. This is her Connect glue, to put just a little bit all over the fun foam. And then I can place that down on top of the card base. I love the liquid glue because you get a little time to wiggle it to get it framed just right. And then I'll let that set up and dry. Ah, the light shifted. It looks so much better. I've got some foam squares, and I'm just popping up that little heart right on top of the sentiment panel. It's very monochromatic, but I thought I would finish it off with a handful of the gems from Pretty Pink Posh. And that is my finished card project. Again, it's very monochromatic. The little pink gems add a little shimmer, but I really love how this turned out, and the set is just charming. So that is my card project for today. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out the link below to my blog to get more info on the blog hop. Thanks so much, and I'll see you back here again soon.